Smith, Ms. Turco-Levin, Mr. Reginato,
Here.
Mr. Schultz,
Here.
Chairman Porter.
Here. Okay.
I'm here, dear Gabby. It's Diane.
Thank you, Diane.
Thank you.
Okay, good. Don't mind me tonight. I have a lot of things I'm thinking about right now. Okay, well, we have a public hearing coming up right now. I'm trying to pull the agenda, but unfortunately, I have to use my iPhone, and it's awful difficult to see things in that right now. Okay, we have a public hearing tonight. I'd like to go into public hearing, or any motion to go into public hearing, I'll make it.
I'll make the motion.
All right, any seconds?
I'll second that.
All in favor? Say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right, first other thing is I'm reading this right now. Yes, can somebody please read me the agenda because mine is locked up and I can't retrieve it. I'll lose a Zoom meeting completely if I try.
We have
It is.
two public hearings tonight. We have the Ruby Post Office with Mr. Sutton, and we have the Costco Heritage. We still haven't approved the minutes from the last meeting, though.
Thank you. See, you don't need my coaching. You got it down to a science. Okay, let's go into the, make a motion. We approve the meetings from the last minute.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. All right. So we're saying, are you saying Mr. Sutton is the top of the order?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. So Gabby, could you read what we're doing with Mr. Sutton, please?
Mr. Sutton has applied for use variance to allow a mixed-use building in an R30 zone. So it's a residential zone, and he would like to continue to have the post office on the lower level and is proposing a one-bedroom apartment for the second story.
Okay, that's pretty straightforward. Mr. Sutton, are you here?
Yes.
Okay, fine. Look, you look very comfortable on
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Okay, would you like to speak to us and let us know what you're gonna do a little bit more? Kinda like,
Basically, that's what it's a pre-existing non-conforming residential commercial mixed. The apartment upstairs has been vacant for quite a few years,
Mhm.
and we just want to renovate the second floor apartment.
Okay, now, a few years ago, wasn't it a apartment at one time, and for how long a period of time?
It was 30 years ago.
30 years ago, okay. Anyone have any questions for Mr. Sutton?
My name is Rosemary Roughton, and I live on Main Street in Ruby. And I represent Evelyn Young. And we both support Mr. Sutton's efforts to work on this project and wish him the best of luck.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I was there a couple of weeks ago, just to take a look at the place. Like I've been by it before anyway, because there was some mention about a tragedy that happened nearby. And as I noticed your property, there was basically nothing in back of your place, just a couple of tanks and a woods. Okay. And while I was there, somebody did come in to the post office and check their postal box. So, and there was plenty of room for parking in there at that particular time. You have a lot more room probably than what's being used for the post office. Does anybody else have anything they want to say for or against this variance? I'd like to hear from everybody.
Mr. Chairman,
Hi there. Nice to see you.
I never received a Zoom link, Gabby. I've been emailing. I never received a Zoom invitation or a link. I had to find it online. It was not easy, by the way.
Yeah, I sent it out a couple times and it was also in the Dropbox.
That's how I find it. Our counselor told me to check the Dropbox.
I looked in the Dropbox, there were so many other things in there, but so my apologies. But Gabby, can you please mark that I'm here?
Yes, I will, and I'll also send it out separately just to be sure.
I think it's
outside of the
usually
Dropbox
best,
also.
it's
Single
usually
links
best
are
to
better.
send a separate email because some of us are on the fly and it's just too hard to go through all of that when I'm on an, I'm on, anyway, thank you.
No problem. I'll definitely do it next time.
Yeah, so I think that's something we could discuss later because I'm in total agreement
Yes,
with you.
so I'm
Oh,
sorry,
yeah.
and I'm gonna
No,
quiet.
I'm in agreement with you, because if you see your mail, you see I sent everybody, Gabby, where's my link?
Anyway, so guys can discuss and.
Well, I'll bring you up to speed. We're discussing Mr. Sutton's proposal for the apartments on top of the post office. And the neighbors there are here and they have no objection to it.
Great.
So I'm asking for anybody who'd like to speak one way or another, against or for.
Should we make a motion to open it up for the public hearing and then,
Yep. We are in public hearing.
oh, okay.
Yep, I have an opening. If anything, you guys just need a motion to close it.
Yeah, I'm waiting to hear if there's anybody else wants to give input from the public.
Can you hear me?
Very well.
Yes, we hear you, Lois.
I'm sorry I joined late, but I couldn't find the link to get in either. That here I am. I'm trying, but I did all the best I could to try to get in with the link. So sorry I missed whatever was said. I jumped in as Andy was saying how she couldn't get in either. So I'm here. Here, please.
Nice to hear from you. I was worried we weren't gonna have a quorum. Yes, okay. I don't hear any comments one way or the other. What's the protocol, Gabby, for going for the vote?
First, we'll need motions to close the public hearing and
we
then
go
someone
for
can
the
make a
vote.
motion. Yep.
Okay, so that's why I always screw up.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing. This is Andy.
And this is Bob. I'll second that.
Ms. Smith?
Are you waiting for a vote? Can I don't know what I'm sorry, Gabby.
It's just a roll call to close the public hearing.
Oh, okay. I don't know if I should add this now. Yes.
Okay, Ms. Turco Levin,
Yes.
Mr. Reginato? Oh, you're muted.
Yes.
Mr. Schultz,
Yes.
Chairman Porter.
Yes.
And now you can have a discussion or you can make a motion to vote to approve or deny.
Let's have a discussion amongst the board members if they feel like they want to ask some questions. Ample, good place to ask. Lois, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I'm getting organized. I apologize. You can all go first. I'll go last if you don't
Oh,
mind.
you're first.
I'll be last.
Nobody's saying anything, so I'm thinking maybe, well, I know you, maybe we have a question.
Okay, I do, but I'm trying to get organized, Mr. Chair, and I'm sorry. So if somebody else wants to go have right at it, I'll wait till last. Thanks.
Just as a comment, I got no other comments from any other neighbors, except
Okay,
for
so
the
then
one neighbor
we're
present.
in favor of Mr. Sutton converting that back to an apartment on top of it. Okay. As I stated before, I was there in the property. I looked around. There's just nothing around left or right that can cause any issues whatsoever. There's nothing but woods in the back of the house, woods to the side, and both sides of the house. So there's really no traffic issue living there. And there's plenty of parking for anybody who wants to go in. While I was there, somebody did pull in, and went to their mailbox. And I was over to the extreme end of the property with my Jeep. So it doesn't look like it's a problem. And probably should have been done years ago.
I'm happy, Mr. Chairman, I'm happy to support this. I think, we need more housing everywhere, especially, in the town of Ulster. It's great that we can include our housing. Mr. Sutton's done a nice job and, I think this is a great use for the property. So thank you, sir, for stepping up.
Okay. Lois, are you with us now?
I'm here, sir. Yeah,
Don't call me
and
sir, I'm getting nervous.
it's fine. Go around. It's okay. Ask everybody else. Like I said, if
Well,
it's okay, I'd like to go last.
You are. You're going right now because I think I was ready to call for a vote.
Yeah, I'm satisfied with the questions that have been asked and I'm okay with going to a vote.
Okay, so I am very good friends with the Hendersons, and the Hendersons, they were the ones that had the mishap with their 5-year-old son.
Glad you did
And
that.
they do not have a problem with Mr. Sutton converting that post office to an apartment. As a matter of fact, Mrs. Henderson left. They said, you know, they always wondered why it wasn't turned into an apartment. So it was pretty cool that they think, you know, it's a good idea. So I also contacted Kingston City Schools Consolidated in reference to the bus stop to verify. There is not a bus stop at that location at the post office that for children, and the head of transportation.
Sorry.
Miss Boyd, the head of transportation, verified that there is not a bus stop there, and Miss Henderson also verified that she hasn't put a child on the bus there in a very, very long time. She didn't think that there was still a bus stop there as well. So I'm satisfied to say that on our behalf, there isn't a bus stop there. It's not. So and the Hendersons are all for it. And yeah, so and there was a tragedy there, and it was the Hendersons' 5-year-old little boy, Joey Henderson. And there was a law put in place because of the delivery truck with the tragedy that happened with him. And Miss Henderson sent me the law in reference to what they advocated for. And if you see the UPS trucks with the double mirrors on, that's because of the Hendersons. When you hear that beep, beep, beep backing up of even the larger trucks, that's because of Joey Henderson. So the Hendersons really advocated, is what I'm telling you. And that's why I was so passionate about, not just because they're dear friends of mine, but because of that tragedy that happened. And because of that, I backed my vehicle into my driveway, into my garage. I don't care how tight it is. So yes, I think that we've covered, and the Hendersons are fine with it. And they are all for Mr. Sutton making that into an apartment. So I just want to verify that in reference to the 5-year-old and my passion and about the safety and how serious it is. And anyway, okay, I'm done. And I did send it. I'm trying to send it to Gabby. If anybody's interested in reading the law and the New York State Vehicle and Traffic Law, Article 9, and it was through Supreme Court. And that's because of right there, and because of 5-year-old Joey Henderson, and he was not chasing the truck, by the way. So I just want to verify that. Anyway, good luck to you, Mr. Sutton.
So would you like the privilege of making a motion to accept his variance, to grant the variance to Mr. Sutton? Lois?
Yes, I make that motion to accept it.
Okay, I'll second the motion to grant the variance to Mr. Sutton.
Ms. Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Levin,
Yes,
Mr. Reggino,
Yes.
Mr. Schultz,
yes,
Chairman Porter.
Yes.
You got your approval, Tom. You're all set. So all you have to do is file for a building permit when you're ready.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Good view. Look like you're really chilling out there.
All right.
Okay, next up here, we have Costco Heritage. Would you read that, Gab?
Yes, Costco Heritage is applying for an area variance to allow a 6-foot fence within their front setback.
Okay. Hello, Costco Heritage, you're up.
Hi, I'm Jim Studoff. Good evening, everybody. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes, well, like
Yeah.
that.
Yes.
You want to open the public hearing?
Oh, yeah, okay. I'd like to open the public hearing for the Costco Heritage variance for the 6-foot fence.
Do you need, is that a motion? Do you need a second on that motion?
Give me a second.
I'll do that.
All in favor?
Yes.
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 Aye.
I was at one point hoping to ask council if we could do these both at the same time, but he's not here. So, okay, we're open here for Costco Heritage. Sir, you're on at the plate.
Okay, we had applied for the 6-foot fence in order to protect the vehicles that are parked on the property per some of the regulations that we have to adhere to in connection with our spill prevention control and countermeasure plans that go along with our facilities. This is why we wanted to have the 6-foot fence. We have a gate operator, electronic gate operator on the front, and manual fences on moving gates on the back. And we're just hoping to be able to get this so that it is approved for the variance.
Now, I do understand that you're under EPA order to do that. Am I correct? I was sent to me.
That is correct.
Okay, so it's not like, oh, let's build a fence. They're telling me you have to build a fence.
Security section of 40 CFR 112.
All right, thank you. Boy, this is your moment to ask questions.
I've driven by there so many times. I don't see anything that's out of character, anything that's really off kilter or impacts the sight lines, in my opinion. But so those are my 2 cents. I'll leave it up to the rest of the board to discuss.
Steve, what do you think?
Okay with it.
All right.
You know, I've been
Oh,
on
go ahead.
I've been on the facility quite a bit over the years. It looks, you know, everything else what they've done, fencing around their areas, it's the code or what they use. As long as the county didn't have a problem, I know we pushed it there last month to see if the setback was in the county right away, and if they didn't have a problem, I don't have a problem with it.
I haven't received anything from the county saying it's a problem. You, Gabby? Warren?
I didn't receive anything from county. The only comment I received was from the owner of Sawkill Manufactured Home Park there. And they weren't concerned about the fence so much. They had a concern about, I guess, abandoned, I don't even know what to call them. They weren't tanks, but something in the rear yard that they're worried about spilling and leaking into the creek. That was their only concern. So I figured I'd mention it while it was open.
Well, that's something to consider. Yeah. Good
Yeah,
move.
if I could clarify, is it okay for me to speak?
Absolutely.
Short time or
the
quarter.
The tanks that they're referring to are tanks that have been drained and cleaned, and they're just sitting there waiting to be repurposed sometime in the future. So
All right.
there's nothing in them.
So there's no stream damage potential or anything like that. All right.
No.
Thank you. That's
No.
probably what they're concerned about.
Those
Yeah,
tanks that
they've
they
been
were,
Go ahead, Steve. I'm sorry.
those tanks that they were talking about have been there probably for 15, 20 years. And if I remember correctly, they were purchased from another site and brought there.
That's correct.
And they've been cleaned before they came on site.
Which is good because it really doesn't have any bearing on this variance, but it's just good. We're on the record with this, that we acknowledge the residents.
Yes, exactly.
Anyone want to speak against, in the public, to speak against this? I don't think we have anyone in the public wants to speak against it, but I'm just doing the legal thing. If not, I'll make a motion that we grant the variance.
Close the public hearing.
I need to close
Oh,
the
yes,
hearing.
I
Yep.
know. Well,
Yeah.
let's close the public hearing to go to the vote. Sorry, my apologies.
Okay,
I'll never get that straight.
that's why we're here.
Oh, you better have more than just you.
I'm the backup. We need a first and a second.
I think you're the backbone, Kathy.
You know, believe it or not, I had this written someplace. I don't know where it is now. I cleaned my desk. Okay, we're out of the public hearing.
Nope, I need a first and a second.
Yeah,
please.
I make a motion, we can leave the public hearing.
I will second it.
Thank you.
Okay, we got a second. All in favor, raise your hand. Aye.
Yes.
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
I see your hand, Lois, on the phone. There you go.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Okay. I'm gonna make a motion that we accept the variance and grant it to Costco Heritage. Any seconds? Also can discuss in the time before we finally vote, if you want to.
I'll second that. It's just the one caveat I think is from last time with the board. I think one of the problems was that they put the fence up before the approval. I think that's the only, I think for future reference, I think they should take a look at the zoning laws or just keep that in mind for future projects to move forward.
Absolutely.
There's a
Our-
couple of things that they forgot to do during the past couple of years too, like, but they should talk to Gabby once in a while, see what's going on.
Yeah, that's all. But I
What's up to
approved
date
it.
with your compensation and things like that.
Great.
All right, so we got a second. Okay. Gabby,
I'm gonna do a roll call. Ms. Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Levin,
Yes.
Mr. Reggino,
Yes.
Mr. Schultz,
Yes.
Chairman Porter.
yes.
Should have a little confetti emoji or something that blows up on you.
I'm waiting for a drum roll or something like that.
Thank you. Thank you all very much.
There's a confetti wait.
Can we get a couple of meatballs floating across the sky with wings or
Right.
something?
I did it.
I'm just very concerned about that because my grandchildren are downstairs and they're under lock and key, so they don't yell too loud. So they might just have the.
All right, well, thank you, sir. Yeah, just get hold of Gabby and bring your checkbook.
Will do. Thank you very much.
All right. I actually now have the ability to read the agenda. I've got to pull out another iPad. So here we go. So we are closed. We're finished with the public hearing section and the votes. Congratulations. Good job. Good job, everybody. Okay, so we should be going into our preliminary hearing right now. Come on,
Yep.
guys.
Can I interrupt you for 1 second?
You can do that. You can.
Gabby, I owe you an apology.
Oh, boy.
I received the
No
link.
worries.
No, I did. I not only received one link, Gabby, I received 2 links. I owe you an apology. Thank you, Gabby.
Yeah, it just shows.
You're
how-
welcome. I tried to send it out a couple times. I think I sent it out Friday, yesterday and today, or Monday and yesterday. I can't remember.
this-
Once I opened up all the attachments, there it was.
Yeah, it was on the corner at the bottom.
I have to say is because I saw it as a Dropbox link, I automatically
Yes.
assume that if it's a Dropbox link, that then it's just documents and
So
not
do
the
I.
link that I'm going to need. Without any notice of saying, and Gabby, this is not on you at all. It's kind of just miscommunication and you having to like deal with a bunch of board members and we get it, we're slow in some ways sometimes.
Well,
Well, it is
So-
what it is. It's called human nature. We are used to doing something one way, and all of
Right.
a sudden something new came upon us, and we're really not walked through on what to do with this new. And it's excellent, that Dropbox.
But I love
you
it
know
too.
when you
I'm
look
with you,
there for
Mr.
this.
Chairman.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you, Mr. Porter. I think that having the Dropbox and doing all of this is really just so efficient. I love it. Thank you, Gabby, for being so efficient.
Yeah, it is an
I'm
excellent. way
trying.
to do things.
Yeah,
Plus,
you're
there's a
awesome.
problem with Apple users because I can't bounce between the agenda and Zoom. It locks me out of one or the other. I can't go back and forth. But the iPad solved that problem.
So you need to, for another time, we'll talk. I sign on my iPad and I have my computer in front of me with multiple
See, I'm the
screens.
opposite. I use the Mac and then I go to the iPad, iPhone. Oh, that's cool. Okay, we have preliminaries here, ladies and gentlemen. Diane Donnelly.
Hi.
Hi, Diane. Want to explain to us
Hi.
what you want to do and what you're really going to put on there?
My name's Diane Donnelly. I'm an Ulster County resident. I live at the Birches currently. I have owned homes in Ulster County before I was born here, and raised here. I'm proposing to put either a double wide or a single wide home on Van Kuren Highway on a vacant lot, as that's the most affordable option for me for housing right now. The house would meet all federal HUD guidelines. It would be located on a vacant lot at 135 Van Kuren Highway in the town of Ulster with town water and sewer. It wouldn't really require, I don't know if you're familiar with this, but I found out today to the 2015 law changes with regards to land use laws. The New York State Executive Director of Housing today told me that there is no need to get any type of variance for this because they cannot discriminate against people putting up modular homes or any type of mobile home as long as it's on a slab or on a foundation. As of the law change, Article 21B, Title 2, Section -615 through 617. There was a change in the laws of New York State. Are you familiar with that? I have it in front of me.
Jason has signed in. Jason, would you like to speak to that?
Yeah, the town has a very specific code in the zoning code regarding regarding mobile homes. And there's a process by which someone can apply for a mobile home, and we're at that process right now at the Zoning Board of Appeals. So that's where we are.
Okay. He basically told me that as long as the mobile home or residential dwelling is a single family house is affixed to a permanent foundation and conforms with the identical development specifications and standards, including the general aesthetic and architectural standards that are applicable to a conventional site-built single-family home, that the residential district in which the manufactured home is to be sited shall be deemed to be a conforming single-family dwelling for the purpose of the applicable zoning laws or ordinances for anywhere in New York State at this time.
I'm sorry, who is speaking?
That law overrides any local zoning ordinances. It was a law change made in 2015. His name is Bob Campanos. He's the executive director of the New York State Housing Association.
Yeah, I'm sorry, and you are?
My name is Diane Donnelly.
Got it. Yeah, okay. Diane, I will look into that law, and I will provide a legal memorandum to the zoning board for our next meeting. I can tell you that this is the policy, this is the law that we have followed for at least the last 11 years in this town. Every applicant who has come to the town for a mobile home outside of a mobile home park has gone through this exact process.
Okay, it's understood. Well, what happened was I called to inquire about purchasing a home, and the man that owned the mobile home dealership in Oneonta said, your town must not be familiar with the law change of 2015. And I called the lawyer today to find out who is the attorney for the town of Ulster. Who is the attorney for the town of Ulster at this time?
That's me.
I don't know your name, sir. I'm sorry. And I'm on a phone. I'm not on a Zoom. I'm not on my iPad.
I'm sorry, Diane. Diane,
Sorry
my name is Jason Kovacs, and if you want to call me this week to discuss this in further detail, I'm happy to talk to you. My number is 331-4100, but I will certainly review the law you cited, and I will make a recommendation to the board for the board's next meeting.
Okay, so this would just be put on to the next one?
There will have to be.
In other words, I should expect to be on the board. I should expect to be at the board meeting next month, is what you're saying?
Yes, ma'am.
We can discuss this later. Okay, thank you, Jason.
Sure.
I probably have the same question that you have, but go ahead.
No.
No, go ahead.
I actually just wanted to say I do have the exact law that he gave me.
Well, thank you. Thank you. You guys will get in touch and discuss what we have some questions too at our end that we'd like to ask.
Okay, sure.
Andy, go ahead.
Well, first of all, Diane, I I've been a real estate agent for 20 plus years in the Hudson Valley, and I understand how hard it is and how challenging it is to find affordable housing. And I commend you for looking at a way to put yourself in your own home. And I think it's really important. The home ownership is the American dream. So I support you very much in that. And I also understand where you're citing these different laws, and I'm going to, of course, allow Jason to look into those things. And there are a lot of other, I'm sure, benchmarks that you are going to need to meet in order to be able to enact those laws. And that's something that Jason will be able to decipher once he's had a chance to look through them. I do want to ask you some questions because we will probably go to a public hearing for everyone else, but when it does say it being on a permanent foundation, how it's delivered, the application was very vague, and I'm just asking what kind. I'm going to think that you should provide a little more detail of the kind of manufactured home it is. There is a huge difference between excuse my phrasing, but a trailer and a modular, but they're both considered manufactured homes. So I think those kinds of questions are going to be asked of you, and I just want you to be prepared for that. Does that?
No, they're even calling them SNOs now. I mean, they're changing the terminology. So I know, like, I would never even think of putting a mobile home on wheels or not putting it on, some type of permanent crawl space or slab. I wouldn't think of doing something like that. It wouldn't definitely be an eyesore thing. Ideally, it would meet all the guidelines through HUD. And also, but they do change the terminology, what they're calling it. A manufactured home, like of today, a new manufactured home looks just like a regular house nowadays. You could add a porch if you want with an overhang, and they're square. You can get square. They're not even rectangle. They're almost square. I'm looking at 24 by 36. With COVID, I'm having a hard time getting. First of all, I had COVID myself and survived. I'm having a hard time getting a hold of people to talk to. That's one of the problems I'm having, that I'm facing, on a regular basis, is people aren't available to answer these questions that I have,
Just so you know, actually, a modular is called a factory manufactured home. A mobile is called a manufactured home.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's the difference in the building code.
Thank you, Warren.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone else want to ask some questions? Make some comments? Because I'm a little perplexed right now. I'm not sure if we're ready for public hearing as it stands with this dialogue that I'm hearing right now, or if we can go to public hearing. That's my question, Counselor. Do we move ahead to public hearing if we wish, or should we hold off?
I would recommend we move to a public hearing. I'm confident that the town law is correct.
Okay.
The town has not prohibited mobile homes outside of a mobile home park. That would be probably not in compliance with state law and federal law. Instead, we have a system where somebody can go to the zoning board and request a use variance for the authority to place a mobile home outside of a mobile home park. That's what we've done. I think we've had two such applications in the past six months.
To the Orgatinis.
I think our process is straightforward, and we have applied it very consistently over the past 10 years, 11 years. So I would advise the board to move to a public hearing.
Okay. I just want to
I'll make a motion to move it to a public hearing.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'm confused about something. Can I just
Sure.
I understood it that next month I would come to the board again after I speak with Mr. Kovacs.
That's
I guess
correct.
I don't understand the difference.
Yes, because we will do an approval to go to public hearing, which will be next month, and that's where you get your final answer from us.
Okay.
All right, this is a preliminary, as it states, but the
Okay.
public hearing is the final answer. And that would be next month.
Okay.
Diane, yeah, because you're asking for a variance, the neighbors do have to be notified. That's all. Gabby will explain all of that stuff to you. And that way, you have to understand there's still an impact on the neighbors and things. So it's just
Yeah, the
protocol.
lady told me, the owner told me that every single person that's looked at the property for, I don't know how long it's been for sale, for 6 years that I'm aware of, because I've been looking at it that. She said that the lady that's the neighboring house, that's the last house on the dead end, has talked to every single person out of buying it and basically ran them off the property. That's what she told me. And I said, well, that's nice. Okay. And now I just need to know that going forward.
Yeah,
She ran everyone off.
This is where your public and future neighbors of yours will have a chance to express their concerns or no concerns, such as you heard
I get it.
the Hutton property.
Do you own the property already, Mrs. Donnelly?
No, I don't. That's what I have. I got permission to go before the town zoning board from the owner. And she told me that.
Wait, I read-
Prepared to be chased off by the lady that owns the house at the end of the road.
Okay.
Said, okay, I'll have that ready.
You sure you want it for your neighbor?
The reality is there's a shortage of affordable housing. This housing is not affordable. Where I'm currently at affordable, and I don't feel that at my age of 56 years old that I'm even I'm not suitable for where I'm currently living. I can't see myself living. My father lived to be 80. My grandmother lived to be nearly 100. I can't see myself living here for 40 or 50 more years, and I'm healthier than they were. So I'm looking to get out of here, to find an apartment elsewhere is not full. And that's where I'm at. That's why I'm pursuing this.
That's why we're going to the vote right now for next month. We have a second.
And I'm also a neighbor of the property where I live. So, in other words, I'm neighboring the property where I live anyway. So that's good. I'll be able to focus on my own.
Diane,
Yes.
can you tell me which law section they referenced for you?
Sure. It's Article 21B, Title 2, -615 through 617. What I read was
Title 22?
Article 21B, Title 2,
Title 2.
-615 through 617.
Thank you.
He calls it the Kathy Young Bill. He said he'd be more than happy to even help me at the board meeting.
Diane, can I ask you one question?
Sure.
Is this the lot that is at the end of Van Kuren across from Pine Street?
Certainly, yes. Very last lot. Yes, you can't build next to it. It's the end.
Past the old Schatzl house.
It's the left-hand side of the road on the end.
Just by where there's a gate across the end, correct?
Yes, there's a gated home there, and
Okay.
yep, and there's an abandoned house next door to the lot. And I was looking at that house, and I don't know what's going on with that house, but it's an eyesore.
Well,
But I'll just be able to.
I was there yesterday, and somebody's got a pretty nice property next to your left side of your lot. It's brick. It looks like they're just building it and putting it in.
Oh, that house looked like a foreclosed property because I've been looking at this for 5 years. I've been walking through there. That looked like a foreclosed house, that brick house, and they stopped working on it. They haven't worked.
Okay.
They haven't touched it in over a year. That's all I know.
My idea of abandoned
I'm not an expert.
an eyesore. That's not an eyesore. It's just needs to be finished up. It's not a bad looking property.
One more.
I agree.
One more question, Diane. Has that lot been filled in? Was that always a level lot, or in the past couple of years have you filled that lot in?
It's completely flat, and there's only trees on the west side, which is the side which goes off the cliff. There's no trees on it or anything. It's completely flat.
Okay.
There's no hills, and on the left, standing from the road on the left side towards the west, there's some trees. I wouldn't even want to take those down. They're privacy trees.
But
So
that
you can
back
see a
corner,
view of of Orlando Street.
That back corner drops off very steep, doesn't it?
Yes, yes.
So the house you're talking about right before the lot you're talking about was built by Rose and John Schatzel and Pam Schatzel. And I went to school with them. That was a huge hangout area for all of us as kids. So I'm very familiar with that location and that lot and the house and
Yes.
all of that.
We had a
So-
hangout house across from the armory.
Oh,
I'm familiar
yeah.
with those hangout houses.
Okay,
Yeah,
now,
so you get it.
I'm
You
lost. I
understand.
thought we had a motion and a second. Did we get to that far yet, or am I just dreaming?
We did not get to a second, no.
You didn't get a
Do we
second
have
yet.
a motion? I'd like to hear a second to send this to public hearing. Or not, you guys.
I made the motion.
That's correct. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Okay, Gab.
Ms. Smith?
I was muted. I'm sorry. It's good. Yes, thank you. Sorry.
Ms. Turco Levin?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Reggino?
Yes.
Mr. Schultz?
Yes.
Chairman Porter?
Yes. Okay, so we're going to public hearing.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And Counselor Kovacs will be in touch with each other.
Great, thank you.
Okay, we look forward to the outcome. Thank you. Okay, Scott, are you still with us?
Yes, I am. Hello. How are you? How's everybody?
Wrong person. Okay, you want to explain what you're going to do? I live close to you, so I'm pretty well familiar, and I just went by your property again today.
Okay. Yeah, I'm the Dutch Colonial that's mounted sideways.
Yes, but it gives you a lot of yard.
Yeah, it's 3 lots, and
Hi,
have the 6
buddy.
Rock star.
on the east side. I already have the 6-foot going to the variance, and what I had on the west side was that large spruce tree that I had to take that down because I was concerned about that coming down maybe in a storm, and did make a mess on the driveway side. Started to put sap on the cars really bad, and but it was good for privacy, so that's the reason I like to continue that fence on that side, finish the privacy, basically.
How much more of a section are you putting in? Doesn't seem to be that much, right? It's just
No, it's not. It's 3, I think 6-foot sections.
about it. Okay.
3 sections that meets the bush there, and it's in front.
There's about how far is it off of your front property on Rentham Street?
Probably good 7 feet, maybe 6-7 feet from the street.
From the street. Okay.
Yeah.
Your house right next door to you just went on the market yesterday.
Oh, it
Day
did?
before.
Oh,
Yeah.
the White House or not the
Yeah.
red?
Yeah, the
White
white one.
Oh,
Oh, the
okay.
red one. Oh, that poor little red house. Oh.
Yeah.
I'm the one that walks by you with the 2 little white dogs all the time.
Oh, okay. Hi.
Yeah. But oh, that little red house is so sad.
Yeah.
Been sad for about 15 years.
We do
It's so sad.
put some trees there, and just to block that side off too, they're gonna have to grow.
Well, you don't need to. I mean, the whole thing has been taken over by the
I
nature.
know.
Trees and everything, anything green's taking it over.
All that chokeberry. Yeah. No. Anyway.
I looked into that a little bit when I had some other trees taken down, and the lady just walked away. She's still paying taxes on it, but just
God bless her.
walked away. Yeah, it's
Oh,
not,
that little house next to you. Yeah.
yeah, it's not a foreclosure or anything.
Nope.
It's simply a
Believe me, I watch it.
Yeah.
I don't
Cute little
see
house.
much of a difference with, I mean, that fence wouldn't make any difference to that property as far as like, you got
But
fences.
it's not on the same side as that fence. You're talking about the house that just went on the market next to you on the other side. That's
Oh.
where you're adding that's where you're adding it. You had a tree there
Mhm.
because there's then the White House and then there's Cindy's house on the corner.
Mhm.
So you're just asking, so you have a little bit of privacy that kind of disconnects you from your neighbor on the left side of you and your driveway and stuff, and you've got your pool off in the back, so
Correct, yes.
It just looks consistent with the rest of the property.
it looks inconsistent or consistent?
Consistent. It just looks like it matches that.
Can I interject?
Yes.
Yes, Warren.
So the new fence is part of the variance. The other variance is to bring the fence that's already been installed into compliance, since it's 6 foot, 10 foot from the front setback. So it technically shouldn't be there without the variance. So he's asking for a variance for an existing section of fence and a variance for a new section of fence.
2 variances then. Correct?
It could be the
All on one paper.
same 6-foot fence in the front setback.
Warren, how long has the other fence been there? About-
About
I'm not
5
gonna-
years. About
5 years.
5 years.
And it hasn't been plowed down with any of the town of Ulster plows. It still stands. So Frank, anybody ask Frank about it? Frank's good with it.
No, it's
'Cause
it's fine. I've been
like
to the
this.
property.
I
met-
can't hear you. I'm sorry, you're breaking up or something. I couldn't hear you. Can you repeat it?
Repeat what?
What you're
What you
saying.
said?
Okay, I have been to the property. I met Mr. Albertson. The sight lines from his driveway and other driveways on the street are not impacted by the current fence that's up. And since the new addition will be the same setback, should not interfere with sight lines any further, and there is plenty of room for snow removal.
Can we just, it sounds great. Can we just include Frank and get his opinion too, just out of respect for Frank and the highway department, please?
It's not like it runs parallel to the road. It runs
Right.
perpendicular, so it's like a T. So even when the plow is coming, the snow is going to go on one side or on the other. It's really not going to make as big a difference, but of course,
He said setback, so within the setback to me is within the road, the setback.
I send everything to Frank that you guys receive and I haven't heard anything. But I will ask him tomorrow if he has any comments or concerns.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Gab.
good luck with that.
Wait, he answers
I know,
us.
it's
He
hard to
always
find 'em.
answers me.
Okay.
Easy there.
Well, I personally don't see an issue on this. We can go to public hearing. I could make a motion to go to public hearing.
I'll second that.
Let's have a vote.
Ms. Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Levin,
Yes,
Mr. Reginato,
Yes.
Mr. Schultz,
Yes,
Chairman Porter.
Yes.
Congratulations on your pool, by the way.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right, Scott, we'll see you next month.
Okay, everybody, thank you very much.
You're welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Right, take care.
All right. Next up, we have Burlington.
Yes, so that's me. I'm from Tri-State. My name is Kelvin, and sorry. The reason that we're applying for the variance is for the storefront signage. We would like to have a 405 square feet storefront signage. I will be sharing my screen with you guys so we can review the project and discuss it. Give me a second. There it
Can
goes.
everybody else see everybody except for me?
it's how you're looking at it. You can change it by the,
You see your hand, Annie, will you reach in my screen and change it for me, please?
You have to look at the gallery view. So upper right-hand corner, if you're on a computer.
I'm
gives
on
you
my
the
iPhone
view.
and computer. Yep, go ahead.
It'll give you a view option and you have to go to gallery view.
Thank you, Gabby. Thank you, Andy.
You're welcome.
Okay, I'm having some
Oh, there you
difficulties
are.
here.
I'll
Okay,
try
give
to
me a
bring it up. Hold on one second.
That worked, ladies. Thank you so much.
Okay,
Sure,
I'm
this-
having some issues with my sharing screen for some reason. So I'll just talk it out. Sorry about that. So what we're proposing is to have a 405 square feet signage, which would match. Okay, there it goes. Yes,
Oh, the
thank you very
other
much.
is-
So what we're trying to do is to match the storefront. If we have 100 square foot of signage, it would look really small compared to what the small sizes provided and to the neighbors. As you can see on the screen that's being shared, we see that Barnes and Noble's signage is approximately the same size as the Burlington that we're trying to propose and install. And that's the main reason of why we would like to have that. If Gabby can do me the favor and scroll down to the last page, we can see the comparison of how the sign will look with the square footage allowed compared to the ones that are next to it.
What color will your background be? Will it be the white or will it be what is currently there? I see the white on what Gabby shows us here.
Yes, so it will be as the preview you have there, white.
Barnes and Noble's current sign that was taken down was approximately 192 square feet. So they're basically asking to double the size of that sign and make it larger than any other sign in that plaza.
Yeah, I'm not good.
Barnes and Noble was approximately what size, sorry?
According to my records, 192 square feet. They got a 92-foot variance because they were only allowed 100 square feet. Bed Bath & Beyond is about 256 square feet. The 161 square foot variance from what they were allowed. And it's all based on store frontage and max.
Okay, yeah, so the what kills the sign of Burlington and where the square footage increases is because of the letter B, shape-hearted B. That's basically, it's a lot larger than the other letters. So when we do the square footage, that's what's giving us the large amount of square footage. But if we do take like the small letters, it would be a lot less. We wouldn't be covering like the whole actual 405 square footage. It's just the letter B that's what covers basically all the space. It increases.
Gabby, can you show us the proposed sign?
So this is what's proposed and the one below would be what's allowed.
Correct.
So the proposed sign would be 43 feet, 1 inches across.
Yes, correct.
That's pretty hefty.
Warren,
Yes,
are you ready?
no.
What? Yes, you are. Warren, what size is the Five Below sign?
The Five Below actual sign is 103.
Square feet.
103 square feet. We're not taking into account the blue background.
Thank you. Oh, you're not. You said not. You're just taking into consideration the text,
The actual letters.
letters.
They
Mhm.
punted on that. They paint the background and just go with the letters.
I
Mhm.
didn't hear that. Say that again.
They decided to make the letters their sign and just paint the background.
Make the letters their sign and paint the background blue. Right?
Yeah.
Right.
Right. That was what it was.
They went to the planning board with it, so their sign.
Right.
They got approved last night for the blue
got approved?
background.
Okay.
Right. So I'm asking about the continuity of it. And that's why I asked Warren about the sizes, because he would definitely know the sizes in reference to this. And yeah,
Gabby, is there an overlay showing the two adjacent tenants with the larger Burlington sign? Or just the overlay showing the two larger signs and their smaller sign?
I will scroll through everything I have. 1 second.
I just wanted to get a comparison to Michael's and Bed Bath & Beyond from a visual aspect.
Yeah, that one only has the what's allowed.
well, wouldn't that be included maybe in our old Five Below notes? Because that sign is just one sign away.
I'm sorry if I could chime in there. It's the last page that we have a comparison sheet.
There you go.
I thought I just saw it.
Well, I was looking more for what your requested sign would look like in comparison to the existing signs.
Okay,
In
yeah,
other words,
that's not, yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
because then I could get a visual. If it fits if it fits in with the proportion of surrounding signs, it makes it much easier. I can understand that this presentation, yeah, it's minuscule compared to what's next to it. I just thought it would be easier for the board to visualize.
Okay.
That was a good question.
What if you scale down the text of the Burlington? Is that an option for you? Have you researched that option of the B with the heart and scaling down the entire text of Burlington?
So like I mentioned, the biggest issue on the sizing that we get after all is that letter B. So all the letters that are next to it, to the right, and the ones under, it's to their brand guidelines to how
Right.
it should be.
I understand.
But still, it's even if, as it stands right now, that's a pretty large sign, even in relationship to the rest of the plaza. Put it together with Michael's. I mean, it's not your fault that Burlington is a very long name. I mean, they centered Barnes and Noble, so it was more appealing visually, and it looked larger than it actually was by being centered with a small name. And the same with Bed Bath and Beyond. Again, it was centered. Yeah, you can see it's centered, and they emphasized a different thing. So
Yeah, I think the visually that you're saying might be that Burlington is wider than
that's what I just said.
taller.
You have a bigger name,
Yeah.
so it's going to bring everything out of into a large proportion. I mean, I can see your point at 100 square feet. It is kind of small compared to the rest of the signs. Yes.
What would a sign similar in square footage as Bed Bath and Beyond? That might be a compromise. We're not going, 100 square foot over the largest sign there, but we're also not reducing it down to something that you can't see.
It's the same amount of characters -1, actually, including the space. And if you include a space between the H and the and sign on Bed Bath and Beyond, it is the same amount of characters. So you can scale anything down that you want to. You fit the word Burlington on a business card, obviously, and on our screens. You can scale that down to any size that is required. So that really shouldn't be an issue, and I don't see why you think it would be, but it's a same amount of characters is what Bed Bath and Beyond have.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, Bed Bath Beyond is 318 square feet. Michael's is 200 square feet, and I think Bed Bath Beyond is large enough of a sign to be seen anyway.
Yeah, the thing is, like, the when we compare it to the Bed Bath and Beyond, we can see that Bed Bath and Beyond is capital letters on their logo, so they have they're able to increase it and have it visibly from far away from the street with an ease on that square footage. But when it comes to Burlington, they're all lowercase but the letter B, and visually from the street, it's not. It doesn't. I mean, the small one doesn't look correct to my
I agree with
visual.
you if you want to stick at 100 square feet. I'm not telling you to stick at 100 square feet. If it went to the same size square footage as what you see over there at Bed Bath and Beyond, that would increase your visibility. It'd still be that size and not being ostentatious as opposed to all the rest. Plus, you are really on top of the street where before, and the plaza down there. I understand. I mean, you can't see seen from the road basically.
Yes.
Going off of that section, that's totally understandable. If that was 100 feet, I'd say I'd be nuts. But we're not in a spot where you can't be seen from the road. I mean, I understand at 100 square feet, I would be straining my eyes to see it. I agree. But a little
You're
reluctant
also-
to go larger than we usually have there.
And you're also getting signage on the marquee, so people who are driving by do know that you're in there.
That's right.
I feel that there needs to be a compromise here. I feel it's, I understand but the entire open space there is kind of like it's too much. It's a little too much for me.
Hello, Scott Bilbrey. I'm the sign and graphics designer for Burlington nationally. And may I speak?
Certainly. Just identify yourself again, because you kind of came out of nowhere.
Sorry, I'm the sign and graphics designer for Burlington nationally. And if we reduce that by the whole height of the B by like 12 inches, would that be a compromise? Right now, it's at an 84-inch letter, and we went down to like a 6-foot letter, which would be a 72. I think visually with the ascending and descending letters, it's going to have the visual impact as your Bed Bath and Beyond that you guys are trying to.
Gabby, can you pull up the 405 square foot sign, please?
There you go.
I could see that from the Hudson.
Yeah, there's actually a page up. I think it's the 3rd page. It actually has all the dimensions of the sign. That might help a little bit. And I think we'd all be in agreement that a 72-inch would look more organic to that elevation and to the surrounding buildings. And I'm sure that everybody be a lot happier with the 72-inch letter.
And in proportion, what would that do to the 43-foot sign? How much will we be bringing that part in?
Well, you'd be down to 260 square feet.
Okay, that's why I want to hear it. Look at that square footage.
Well, and so I can just wrap my head around, because it's the same as the Barnes and Noble space. You're not reducing the space or anything. It's the same sign. Barnes and Noble actually has quite a few letters in their name. Warren, was there a variance for the Barnes and Noble sign?
Yes,
And how much was that for?
92.
Okay.
Barnes and Noble came in at 192 square feet. Bed Bath and Beyond came in at 256 square feet. And I misspoke. If they reduced the D to 72 inches, they would come in at roughly 320, which
So that's still more scale than the others. I feel like
much larger.
Huh?
I agree.
You're correct with the square footage. It's the ascending and descending letters. Like Calvin was talking about, was visually, there's a lot more dead space with the Burlington sign than there is with the Barnes and Noble. It's more. This was designed in 1982 when it wasn't such a corporate entity like Bed Bath and Beyond and Barnes and Noble, and now we're living with this this logo, this trademarked logo. And so the square footage is a little deceiving. If you block it all off, you're going to end up with a sign that would look more like Barnes and Noble than you actually.
Or like Michael's, which is located right next to it with the lowercase letters and the capital M, as in Burlington has a capital B and lowercase letters. So the continuity of it is, would that be similar, sir?
It would be similar to that. That one
That's
is,
what I'm thinking.
is 90 inches. Oops, sorry, 90.
Gabby, can you bring it over just a hair so I can see Michael's next to the Burlington? Can you scale it down a little? Thank you. I appreciate that.
yeah, if you look at the Bed Bath and Beyond, it's practically a rectangle. All the letters are the same height.
Correct.
And the borders are exactly the same on the left and right. Everything is basically geometric. Whereas Michael and Burlington have a variation.
And Michael's is actually a smaller square footage than I'm looking. If you, yeah, well, you can see it right here. I'm sorry, I'm just looking on my screen.
320 and a half. or 320.
They don't have the amount of floor space that you guys have. Their storefront's not as wide as yours.
Yeah, but the visual impact of it is just as great as great as Barnes and Noble. Excuse me, Bed Bath and Beyond. But and that's also a corporate. That's a very well designed logo also.
I just did a company logo. I get it. I totally get it.
Burlington's being promoted at the top of the sign that's located on Ulster Avenue. That space seems to be vacant, so I'm assuming, I'm sorry, I shouldn't say it is, but that space, are you replacing the Barnes and Noble next? Are you replacing the Barnes and Noble logo on the sign that's located next to Ulster Avenue? Because
Correct.
that's located at the top of all the other store names that are there. So that's a given promotion. Once you see that Burlington sign located on Ulster Avenue, and no matter what size your sign is on Burlington on the storefront, you're going to know it's there because you're going to see it on the podium sign that's next to Ulster Avenue.
That's on sheet 3, isn't it? If I'm not mistaken.
I don't think the pylon signs in with this.
No, not with this hardship study, no.
Yeah, because I have it here.
Do you understand what I'm saying, though? I mean, that's your promotion as well that they're paying for in their lease agreement, of course, but they're at the top of the sign. They're at the top of the podium. So what's your feelings on this, Warren, since we all just went through the 5 below?
There it is.
And Jason, I mean, we need to hear from Jason and Warren on this too.
Lois, there's a picture of it right there in front of you.
Thank you.
I think a compromise
No
would
problem.
be something similar to the Bed Bath and Beyond sign, about 325 square foot seems reasonable considering the other signs in that plaza and the sheer size, sheer of the variance request.
And that is what Scott proposed, right? 320 square feet with the
Correct.
yeah.
Yeah, with the change, with the size
the
change,
change.
that would be the square footage, correct.
Okay.
So you're not going to be bigger. You're basically going to be in the same as Bed Bath and Beyond. It looks like so consistent. These signs are getting bigger and bigger and bigger every time we have a meeting. And this plaza doesn't need to have gigantic signs in that.
Now, what's interesting is that they're only, if they went to 320 square feet, they would only be asking for 100 square foot variance, since there was a bulk variance granted in the back, which we had the same conversation with 5 below,
Right.
that it was allowed 2 square feet per linear foot. I forget what the linear footage is, unless it was 100 square.
Now, is that because they won't put a sign in the back, but they're optioning to the front?
It's 100 originally, yes.
Yes.
That's a little, my view, that's a lot more reasonable than what was being presented.
I agree.
I like Jason's idea. I think it sounds fair to the other storefronts and the other stores and the continuity of it. I like that idea. I think that's a given for everybody. You know, everybody's going to have to give a little, maybe. Thank you, Jason.
So can we recap where we are right now? Do we have agreement that we are going to drop this sign down to 320, Warren?
Correct.
What was that?
Correct. 320, yeah, in that vicinity, 320. I don't know. I won't know the exact numbers until I get a revised.
Okay. But we're saying the same size as Bed Bath & Beyond, no larger, correct?
Plus or minus 5%.
Okay, can't argue with that. But I
Please,
feel
not our tax.
plus or minus 20%.
When these signs are so discombobulated, it's kind of hard to, give a finite number.
but it matters to the other store owners, that 5%. It
Yes.
could be huge to somebody,
Oh, yes, it will matter.
right? So I think with Jason saying the specifics of the size, I go with that. I think that's a great idea, and I think it's a great compromise. And I think the continuity of it keeps the aesthetics of the plaza. And he was saying the organic sense of it. I think that that plaza is a beautiful plaza.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Jason, could you reiterate this for everybody again, where we're at with this? I know they made me chairman, not because I was the smartest, but I was the dumbest one to say yes. So just for my benefit, could you reiterate this, what we're really gonna be looking at and how we proceed from here? Can we go to public hearing based upon what we're discussing here?
You directed that to Jason?
Yes,
Thank you.
This is the first meeting, correct?
correct.
Okay, so I would say we can move this to public hearing. Move it to a public hearing for next month, with the understanding that the variance request is for, let's say, 325 square feet. Is that
That's,
fair?
That's 5%, yeah.
yeah,
Is that, is the applicant okay with that?
That's fine. Yes, perfect.
all right, so we have
Okay.
agreement on that. All right, thank you.
Yeah,
Is there a way to amend the 2 square feet or the 1 square foot per 2 square feet for future, and just get a base to where we can just stick to it, and that's, because it seems to change every time we
Well,
have.
this variance is explicit to this plaza. Okay, it was granted, I want to say 10 years ago, maybe not quite so long or longer. We've been dealing with the formula for everywhere else without issue. But evidently back in when they granted these 2 variances for Barnes and Noble, Bed Bath and Beyond, they came up with this modification of 2 square foot per linear foot, which is in some other districts with a maximum. That's where the problem arose, maximum of 100 square feet. They basically said 2 square foot per 1 linear foot, which actually brings them in, if this is correct, 147, brings them in at 250 allowed. So now it's getting even less of a variance. If they've agreed to apply for the 320, I'll figure out the math for what the variance will actually be.
Okay.
Well, I think it's a fair compromise. So this isn't town law, this is agreed upon for this particular site.
Correct.
So we can't bring this across the town, okay. Well,
So
I'll make
far,
a
we
motion
haven't
that we
had
go to
to.
public hearing. I'll make a motion that we take this to public hearing with the understanding we're going to 325. Is that safe enough? That should take in whatever pledging we have to do.
320. I thought,
All right,
325, okay.
okay, I make that motion.
Second,
Ms.
Right.
Smith?
need to clarify something. It's 325 is what Jason said. Warren said 320, give or take 5%, but we're going with the 325, not with the 5% or with give or take 5% as well.
No. Everybody takes me too seriously, I swear.
Where's the-
325 is the number.
I would say let's hold it 325. I'm sure they can mathematically come in there someplace along that line.
Yeah, so it was 2 square feet for every linear feet of wall space. According to the application, they have 147 linear feet of wall space, which puts them in at 294 allowed.
Wow.
So now we're even closer to the 325. Now you're talking, I'll bet it's 5%.
I'll amend my recommendation to be 325 plus or minus 5%.
Okay.
All right. Is that okay with the second on that?
yes.
I'll second that.
Okay, we got that in there. Okay, let's try this again.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Turco Levin?
Yes.
Mr. Reggino,
Yes.
Mr. Schultz,
Yes.
Chairman Porter.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Is,
Poor Warren. He's got to be so tired.
We owe him a debt. We should get him more donuts to keep his feet up.
Just don't run it till 9 o'clock like last night's meeting. I'll be fine.
Cookies.
Don't worry about it. We might be there. So we're all set with this? Ladies
All
and
set
gentlemen,
with
we're all happy? We're all done? We voted?
Thank you,
we're
guys.
happy. We're happy.
Thank
I
you.
love you're happy people. Right. Mr. Ring, are you with us? Mr. Ring, you can chime in.
You're muted.
Yes, I am, Mr. Porter.
Oh, nice to hear from you again. Glad you're feeling better.
Thank you.
He's here. I think he's very key. I have really nothing to do with this digital sign, so I'm reading what I read. But it's a good time to have a discussion, and I'd like to bring it up first to our past chairman and current chairman of the planning board, because we had a discussion. He picked some things up in there that need to be discussed. So you bring it to us, please.
So let me give you the background. I think it's 3 years now. We had a number of digital sign variances come before the zoning board where we had to grant variances, and I suggested that we write a digital sign law so that we didn't have to have the town's folks go through the variance process. In doing so, Mr. Kovacs looked at other town regulations, laws, and created a base set of documentation and for the law. We then took that, and I went to a local sign shop and got a sign manufacturer to come and do a demonstration at the town hall so that we could understand things like nits and other interesting things about the signs. And that was a public demonstration. It was scheduled. We had various people from the town, various people from the boards. The sign manufacturer, we started at around 4 o'clock in the afternoon so that we had some sunlight on the sign, and we went through the various lighting options on the sign, brightness, talked about nits. At that time, the brightest possible with the technology was 10,000 nits. And one of the things that we came to understand is in the daylight, the brighter the sign, the easier it is to read. So we actually crafted and changed some of the wording in the law, in the draft law, to include 10,000 nits as the maximum brightness for daylight. The meeting extended into through dusk. It was not dark, but it was dusk, and we were able to see the effects of the lighting changes on as the sun went down. And I think we settled on 715 nits for nighttime, if I'm not mistaken, Jason. So we created this law, this proposed law. We then sent it around to the planning board, and it's kind of sat for the last 3 years. Mr. Porter and I spoke about it, given that he's the chairman, now the chairman of the zoning board, and I'm the chairman of the planning board. And we still have a need in the town to address the digital signs. And so we're gonna, we'd like to collectively make a recommendation to move this forward to the town board. Now, we covered this last night in the planning board. I think there were maybe a few unresolved questions, but I think that was due to the unfamiliarity of the text of the law. And some of the questions I think have since been answered in my discussions with Warren. One of those issues is, does the digital sign laws in terms of sign size and whether the front and the back of monument signs are included, and it mirrors the, I'm going to call them paper signs for lack of a better description. So the existing, non-digital signs that we have in the town, the digital law follows the town sign laws, so there's no difference there. I believe there's text in there that says that Once this law is enacted, all previously approved variances of the digital signs will need to be complied with the new law. And I don't believe that any that in my term we approved will be an issue. So that's some of the background. Jason, do you have anything to add?
No, Jeffrey, I think you explained it very well. It's certainly a very needed change to the town zoning code. I think will take some of the workload off your board by allowing certain digital signs without the need for a variance. And if the law is passed, it can always be amended or tweaked as circumstances change.
And Warren, do you have anything else to add? I know you and I talked at length today about it.
No, I was just reading on how it can be measured, the light, and it's a stipulation in here. You could use a foot candle meter, not necessarily a nit meter to obtain the reading.
Yeah, that's a good. That's one thing that I missed. In order to measure the brightness of the signs, the way the sign manufacturers and installers do, there's something called a nit meter. I believe that it's around $25,000 or $50,000. It's an expensive piece of equipment to measure the lighting. There may be another way for Warren to measure the lighting for compliance through the standard candela lighting that he uses in the parking lot lighting. But in the town proposed code is the way the software needs to be set by the installer, and it's password protected so that the end user, so Meineke, for instance, can't go in and once the sign is approved and installed, the end user can't go in and say, I don't like 750 at night. I'm going to put it up to 10,000 at night. The town code says that it must be password protected against end user change.
Yeah, there's an actual section in here on how I can test the brightness.
Yep.
Using a standard meter.
So it won't be an additional cost to the town to purchase a meter or a nit tester, so to say, or?
Well, that's a very specific high-end light meter. You could probably
Right.
measure the light emitted from the moon. I don't think we need to do that.
Hey,
So,
Warren, the moon does not emit light. It's the sun reflecting off the moon.
I know. I wanted to see who was paying attention.
Really?
Evidently nobody.
I was waiting for the Swiss cheese personally. I like the moon filters from my telescope, so I just was chuckling.
So I'm sure we can come up with a
For the board to
simple.
ask questions before we actually get put in a position where somebody wants to amend the law before it's even written in law. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna have variances in everything we do in this thing. And this is one you can bet on. It's gonna be coming pretty
You said
soon.
that would be retroactive to signs that are already up? They would have to come into code?
Yes.
Yeah, provided such sign shall conform to the requirements of this subsection if these requirements can be complied with without replacing the sign.
Okay, without
So
replacement.
some of them may be able to, some of them may not. We may get some voluntary compliance, which, believe it or not, sometimes happens.
Yeah, I think that would be the only concern. If they weren't able to lower it and they would have to get a new sign, that could be a pretty high cost for a business to have to comply with the law. But
Yeah, we're not going to ask, the law does not ask them to do that.
No, no. But look, the prime example is Meineke. We go to Meineke and tell them to tone it down. They tone it down. It lasts a month. They turn it back up. So we know that sign has the capability, and that's probably one of the oldest digital signs in the town.
That the yellow sign, Warren, next to the wine merchant?
Yes. The bright yellow sun
Or pink.
or pink.
Oh, I don't really see that.
Now, I have a question as far as what we go. You're saying, how many square footage is a sign allowed?
The digital sign is allowed the same as a standard sign.
It is a standard sign, okay. On both sides?
Both sides, it's treated the same as a standard sign.
All right.
The use, size, and location of digital signs must comply with all other relevant regulations and laws of the town. No, I did not memorize it. I have it on my screen.
He's reading it.
I'm reading it.
Believe that. I think he memorized it. He's so smart.
So just to give some background of why this is coming back, I spoke with the supervisor and said, I'd like to resurrect this. It's really the town board that needs to then take this law and go through a state law process. Basically can probably describe the process better than I can, but the supervisor picked it back since it's been 3 years to both Chairman Porter of the zoning board and myself to make sure that we were still in agreement that the law is needed, the wording's correct, that the two boards are comfortable with what it says before we implement it. So that's why it's back before you tonight.
So I have some questions. I read quickly through it. I'm sorry, I don't mean to keep anybody here, but I did quickly glance over it. So the way that it's set up now, in reference to previous when we had talked about this, it said that it comes in how it reads, and I don't have it in front of me. I apologize. How it reads was it goes in front of the zoning board for the sign, and then it's approved. Then it's transferred to the planning board. Any background colors, any colors at all, goes through planning. So it really isn't a zoning board issue. It sounds like it's being transferred that from the zoning board. Those powers are being taken from the zoning board in reference to sign.
That's not correct. So
you clarify that for me.
Yep, that's not correct. So the way it works today, signs, colors, shapes, and so on are governed by the planning board. If, as in the case of the Burlington sign that you just went through, the size exceeds the standard size, then it needs to go to the zoning board for a variance. The digital sign would not operate any different. The planning board would still have the control over the color, the scrolling, the brightness, all that stuff, the characteristics of the sign, and the zoning board still have authority over granting a variance for signs that would exceed the maximum in the law.
Size and placement.
Yep.
In the event somebody decides they want to locate it in a spot that doesn't fit with regulations.
So basically, what we do, you would continually do, even with the digital sign.
That's correct.
That's what I want to hear. Not that I wanted to hear, that's what I wanted to know. I think Lois was very bold enough to bring it forward instead of me this time.
Well, we're here representing the town residents, so that's what we're, and mean to be obnoxious about it at all. So please don't take it as.
My concern is how does it affect us on the zoning board? Is there any changes in the way we have to approach it? It sounds like we really don't have any changes at all to our procedures.
You will have changes in procedures. In today, when somebody wants to add a digital sign, they are required to go through a sign variance request. So there's at least 2 meetings that are scheduled. It takes up 2 slots, 2 months on your agenda, and you have to have multiple discussions about, digital signs. So the change will be, as long as the digital sign conforms to the law, there's no requirement to come in front of your board for just putting a digital sign that meets the standard sign size and shape and so on.
So once again, it's like a sign. We're getting rid of that whole thing you described as that long process because it's digital. It doesn't apply anymore to us in zoning. We're looking at it as a sign. Where it applies is to the planning board, essentially, most of the work. If there's a problem with that sign, correct? Color.
The digital sign is treated just like a regular sign in the planning board as well.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yep. With the added constraints of color and scrolling and brightness and so on.
Okay. Again, our job is just square footage. Does it confirm to our signs, placement of sign, etc. Doesn't matter if it's digital or not. We don't look at it as digital. We look at it as a sign.
A sign is a sign.
Okay, good. It doesn't matter if it's light or has letters. It's
Well,
just,
if it's a new freestanding sign, it's gonna go before the planning board anyway.
right.
So if they're just updating it, if it complies to the new law, it'll be a sign permit. It doesn't need to be approved through any board.
Only if it's digital, if like a change of ownership of a business.
Nope, sign is a sign. If it's a brand new freestanding sign, it goes before the planning board. Commercially, I should say.
Yeah, but to change a name on a sign does not have to be reapproved, right? They stick with the same old sign.
If it's the same dimensions, same kind of sign, then it would just be a sign permit.
Right, okay, thank you.
What we might consider though, is if they want to go from a static sign to a digital sign.
Okay,
So-
should that be included in the law if it's not already?
I think an upgrade might be, it might be prudent.
From a
to-
billboard to an electronic sign, you're saying maybe?
That may be a
Well,
good idea,
When I say
actually.
static, it's just a sign that's illuminated. So they want to take that, it's the same size, but it's a static sign, but now they want to go to a digital sign. We might
Mhm.
consider that something like that does go to plan.
Right.
And I'm
Tim-
not trying to shirk the responsibility for enforcing this, but the more eyes that have on it, probably the better we are.
Well, in the case of if you had a business that was a church and it had a church sign out front, and the church now becomes, pick your business, the sign would be changed, and that would be before the planning board anyway, right? To make sure that there's a sign permit and so on. So if in the new case, they went from a paper sign to a digital sign, it would again go through the same sign permit process that we have today. I don't see that as any different.
Well, what I'm looking at is, here's a prime example where we just had a workshop meeting about Morton Boulevard Plaza, where she came in. You remember this one, Jeffrey, where she wanted to take over the TCBY. Turns out it's one business to another business, same basic business model. So it didn't affect anything, no effect to the building, no facade change, no parking change, nothing of that matter. So you're saying now, what if they wanted to change the sign on the front to a digital sign? This wouldn't be before the planning board for that.
Oh, it would. I think it would.
The sign would be the same size sign. So
No,
that
it would
be
need to go through the planning board.
because of the change in the sign.
And as it stands
Because you're
today, it
changing
wouldn't.
technology from a paper sign to a digital sign.
Then it needs to be in the law.
Yes, I agree with
Jason,
that.
what do you think? Do we have adequate procedures in the planning board to handle that type of change of a sign?
I think we do. I can review the law again to make sure it's adequate, but I think that it's the status quo right now with the law. It works. Obviously, there may be provisions to the law that we need to do after it's adopted, but I think the important thing for the town is we get this enacted as a law, and then we can revise it as we see fit.
I agree.
Andy, you were talking on mute.
Sorry, my dogs were barking. I feel like, it's really just updating the code. I mean, we're looking at new technology. Digital signs are becoming more of the norm. The planning board is going to be seeing more of them. So I think it's a no-brainer.
Lois, you said you had several questions. Are there more?
No, Jeffrey, there's not at this time. There may be more later, of course, but not at this time. You've clarified mostly what I was interested in having clarified. Thank you. Who's laughing? Warren?
Nope.
Come on.
Not I.
He's very serious looking.
So nice try. Anyway, when we talked about it last time, Jeffrey, in front of the chair, when you were our chairman, they wanted to impose things of like, no happy birthday and no this and no that. I mean, are we going to include that? To me, that's a little extreme, but it's not up to me, but.
It's not in the text now. The only thing that we're talking about is movable features. So in your
Okay.
case of a birthday, could you have a cake on there that explodes with confetti? I think we would not allow that type of movement. There is a standard, Jason, I don't recall if it needs to stay on 5 seconds or 8 seconds. I don't recall the text, but
That's right.
there is a defined amount of time that the sign needs to remain static. An example is the sign at Miller Middle School. It's a scrolling sign. So technically, they never even got a variance to put the sign on the building. And it's a scrolling sign, and it's within 300 feet of a residential area. So that sign wouldn't meet the future town law either.
I see it.
Display message should change more frequently, and I may not change more frequency than once every 8 seconds with a transition period of 1 second or less. Messages may not contain the appearance of motion or animation. Transitions between messages may contain the appearance of motion or animation.
That means that the sign can fade in and fade out as it moves from one static view to another static view. The whole thing could scroll from left to right, or it could fade in. All of the PowerPoint presentation transition modes, that type of thing is what it's talking about.
Right. And I remember discussing that. So thank you for refreshing my memory, everybody. And this is all for safety. This is for driving safety, not to distract the driver so much.
Yep, absolutely. And also it's blinding at night when and we all know that there's a certain place along Ulster Ave. It's very bright. It blinds you when you drive by. So being able to monitor and regulate the brightness of it at night is definitely a help.
Does a place rhyme with Meineke?
I'm trying to be as flatline as possible, guys.
I didn't know it turned pink. I thought it was just yellow all the time.
But would this include the digital billboards, like the one that's by Panera or Red Alone?
No, a billboard is not a digital sign. A billboard is something different. And I don't believe the town will ever have another digital billboard in the town at this point.
Okay.
Billboards are regulated by Department of State, actually DOT. That's how that one got through.
But wouldn't it be county since it's on the state road, a county road? No?
Well, the billboards are on state roads.
Yeah,
Right.
it's not germane to this discussion. I don't
Yeah.
want to keep us till 9, so I don't want to go off on a tangent on,
I think
billboards.
it's a good idea, I have to tell you, because Town of Esopus, I chimed in one of their meetings for a friend, and their guidelines are much, much stricter. So I think that you're being very lenient, honestly. They are controlling what color signs. They're all black backgrounds, regardless of who is who. So
Well, again, the town, I live in the town of Ulster. We all live in the town of Ulster, and the town of Ulster has decided to be business friendly and has, I don't believe that we want to control things until there's a problem, and then we'll address it when there's a problem. But, if the most intricate billboard, I believe, is the one that we approved maybe last year up at the bowling alley.
I was saying
On East Chester bypass. That's I believe that's the newest sign in the town.
Okay, well, we're getting late into the evening. Is there any other questions for Kevin?
No.
I really don't have any right now, but my big one was a square footage issue, and that's really no change.
So Jason, we just have a couple to-dos between the two boards to check on a few items, and then it's ready to get sent back to the supervisor for the town board to begin the process.
What do we have to do to enable?
Nothing.
That's what
There's
I,
no voting, there's
Under
no,
the town code, the town board simply has to refer proposed changes to the zoning code to the planning board and zoning board of appeals.
okay,
That's it. You may make a recommendation. You may not. It's up to you.
right, can we make sure that each member gets a copy of it? And
it's in the Dropbox. You already have a copy of it.
I just whatever's gonna, if there's any change, there's no changes, you're telling me. This is the way it's going to be. But I have my box.
Jason's gonna review it, and if there are any changes, Gabby will get it out. Okay,
As I said before, we'll have a
Certainly.
copy of it before it becomes, we put our input in.
Any updates I'll get, I'll send out.
Excellent.
Any questions prior to going in front of the board? It's now or never.
You'll have it in your hands. Also, we'd like to get that once a month reminder, one more time of when we're going to have the meeting and the Zoom link, just separate from the box. I like the box, but
Yes.
it would
Yes,
help
I'll
a
do
little bit.
that.
Then we should all, after 2 months, be on board and know full well where to find our Zoom link.
Well, if I know it's in a Dropbox, I'm
No
good.
problem.
Just as long as I know where to find it, I'm good.
Between here and next month, I can forget a lot of things.
Thank you for being so, efficient, Gabby.
I'm trying to find the best way for everyone.
Good luck. You're doing a good job.
And on that note, some good news. Our town assessor delivered her twins.
Hey,
Twin boys, girls, boy, girl, what?
Oh my God, you think I know?
Twin girls.
Oh, Warren?
It was twin girls.
Twin girls.
Oh, that is wonderful. Congratulations. Such great news.
Figured we all deserve that once in a while.
Anyone want to make a motion to adjourn?
yes, I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
I've got dinner waiting.
I'll second that.
Jeffrey, seeing you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we're set. Thank you very much.
Have a
And-
good night, everyone.
Everybody,
Thanks.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you.